a place called Landsfield, about 50 kilometres out of Melbourne, and I've just had the most fortunate and pleasurable experience to go through the 4th Innovation Method certification, and I'm very, very pleased and grateful to have joined me this morning, Gijs Van Wulfen, all the way from Netherlands. An amazing guy, innovation expert, really thinks about things in very, very different ways. So I thought I'd take some time out this morning to have a chat with you, Gijs.
My pleasure.
It's great to have you here this morning. It's been great to spend the last week with you. It's been inspiring. You've challenged us, you've pushed us, but what I wanted to do is just capture some of your thoughts and some of your mindset around innovation and just some different stuff that you might like to share with the viewers.
Sure, my pleasure.
So, Gijs, so tell me, like, where was the beginning of this whole innovation journey for you? I'm curious to know more about that, and what is it that you're particularly passionate about with innovation?
Well, you know, so I made this methodology now. It exists for 12 years, and I became independent 50 years ago when I was in my beginning 40s, and I did because of frustration. You know, innovation is frustration. I first started food companies as marketing guy, tried to help the company to innovate. Well, you know, I briefed the R&D department, and they briefed production, and they briefed buying, and then we briefed sales. And the more I tried to push my idea through the funnel, the harder the counter forces become. It was so frustrating. And then I thought, oh, you can always become a consultant. So I did it at a very early age, at Ernst & Young, and later at a poshy management consultancy company in the Netherlands. And I tried to help them with innovation, you know. So we made the plans for the company, and also reorganization plans, and my team. We made the plans for how to grow the top line again with new products or new services or new business models or new markets or new customer groups. And then we merged that into a plan, and the plan was approved by the banks, the shareholders. And then 1 year after, only one part of the plan succeeded, and that was cost reduction. And nobody really could build up his own business again. And when I came to the customer, they said, "Yeah, well," I said, "Why?" I said, "Yeah, well, guys, the markets are still shit, and you know, we had to let go 20% of the employees, but they were all excuses. But the main reason why innovation didn't work was that it was not theirs, right? And I pushed my idea through the funnel, to the innovation funnel. People didn't really care because it wasn't theirs. So then I thought, what am I doing here? I'm beginning 40, driving from mirror building to mirror building, blah, 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 all the way around. It didn't have any content. I thought I want to make people, I want to help people to become innovative at the right moment, and that they can help themselves. And that's when I quit my job in corporate life, and I started for myself.
Excellent. So that was early 40s, right?
Yeah, that was my early 40s, yes.
And since then you've been travelling around, researching more and more about innovation, educating more and more people all over the globe. And look, even going through the process myself this week, what I found fascinating about the process is, and I think one of the main reasons why it's so successful, is because during the expedition, so to speak, we incorporate all the relevant stakeholders in a business case and a business. And for me, going through that, identifying the customer friction points, who the relevant stakeholders were in terms of, you know, having maybe a CEO come in and sit on the expedition team, and then all the key stakeholders, engaging with the customers, I think was absolutely fascinating. Making sure everybody's coming along, and I'm sure that's one of the main reasons why once organisations go through the journey, that the innovation process is successful.
It's all about ownership, BV. So
yeah.
You get ownership by working together and by doing it yourself. Then it becomes yours, and then you want to stick your neck out.
And look, having a business myself in the past and very successful, I found the challenge personally as a leader to continue to grow and innovate, as well as also have everybody come along on the journey as well. And at different times, leaders can be quite headstrong and want to move quickly. And with this process, right, it includes everybody, even those who may move a little bit slower, but it's a journey where we all go together. And I found that like slow way stuff. So
the fast way in the end is the slow way, and the slow way is the fast way.
Yeah. So I'm curious to know more about some use cases around where you've seen Forth work really well around the world. What's something in particular that stands out, a specific case that you go, that was a fantastic intervention and the expedition there was a success? Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So Forth works best in the most conservative sectors and companies.
Okay.
So, you know, and preferably when there is urgency. So, for example, the construction sector. You know, in Europe and also in the States, they had a big crisis there. You know, after from 2009 till 2013-14, you know, the building volume has decreased by 45%, right? And then, you know, you have to do something. So, and or for example, the paper industry or cardboard sector, you know, due to digitalization, a lot of revenues went down there, so creating urgency. So, but also healthcare. So, all around the world, you see two trends. You see the demand for healthcare is going this, but it gets too more expensive, so finance has to go this. So, how can we create better health with lesser costs? And healthcare is also, now healthcare, construction, they're also, you know, sectors with a lot of procedures and rules and routines, and how do you break those routines? That's really a question. And so there helps Forth. Forth helps there to, it helps because the first, because if I go to the methodology, it's an acronym. It's FORTH. It's full steam ahead, observe and learn, raise ideas, test ideas, homecoming. Normally you start with raise ideas. But then you got a lot of ideas, and which one is the best? Wow. If we don't know where to go, we don't know which idea to choose. So that's why full steam ahead, where you make an assignment. So what is our assignment? Where do we want to go? Want to go to the moon, or climb Mount Everest, or go to the South Pole? And then the most important thing in the phase is observe and learn. It's like get those blinders off. Years of operational excellence, years of routines. You know, you first have to go beyond your comfort zone again. You must think that, you know, you must find that the abnormal, you know, you must go beyond the normal, otherwise you won't innovate. And then you come up with ideas. Now in Observe and Learn you also find those customer frictions. So what are the problems of your customer? What don't they really like? Now and in a couple of years, because then our innovation is out on the market. When you find those customer friction where it's really relevant, you almost have half the solution. And then you come with this innovative idea. You go back to the customer right away, test it, you know.
Yeah.
Do you recognize the friction? Do you understand it? Do you understand the concept? Do you like it and it fits us? And then you improve, and then you pick the best ones and you make a business case for the management team or the board or the leadership team to say, yes, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to develop these business cases into real products or services. Now your question was in which companies did it work best? I told you the story about Brel, a construction company, cement and concrete. Anybody can make cement and concrete.
Cement, yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's and they after 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of crisis, reorganization, they knew we had to do something different. So they went on a journey like that.
Yeah.
And they discovered and they realized now 5 new products out. Of which the most innovative one is a 3D printing of concrete, which is really, really disruptive and a breakthrough in the sector. And the best thing is that they really love the business cases. But what they did is Forth created a basis for a culture for innovation now in the company, which really thrives, goes beyond Forth, and now, you know, they're seen as one of the leaders, innovative leaders in their industry, only 3 or 4 years after. So it really sparked the culture for innovation. Now that's corporate life, but actually I'm more proud of a Forth project. I trained Andrew Bugori of the UNHCR. He was country leader of Uganda, And they use the Ford methodology to provide women and girls a safer life in refugee camps.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
yeah,
so that's, and there is also the social aspect, and I really love that too.
That's incredible and totally inspiring. And I think when I first met you via online Skype, and something that really appealed to me was expedition or adventure methodology with Forth. And like you said before, full steam ahead, observe and learn, raise ideas, test ideas, and then the homecoming. And to get to the homecoming point yesterday it felt like we'd been on a journey together, and whilst we'd learn a lot and we'd come up with great new business cases that were really customer centric to solve their problems, there was this sense of empowerment within the group that it was beyond an innovation process, but it was a team building and a culture exercise as well. And I think that's a secondary factor in terms of why you'd want to do Forth, because I was just like blown away by how the group had come together, different people had grown. And the dynamics within the group as you're going through that expedition is really like going on an adventure.
It is.
As I go adventuring in the mountains and the snow all the time.
You always know you are an adventurer.
So that's right. So I was like,
I only read about it, but you do it.
Yeah, that's right. So it's like an adventure of the mind, more so than typically the adventures I go on of the body. So I found that fascinating. So what's next? What's the future of Forth? What are your plans? What are your goals? What are your dreams?
Well, you know, first of all, I hope Australia will go forth, and I know Australia will go forth, because I take a look at the coat of arms of Australia, and in the coat of arms of Australia are two animals. It's the emu and it's the roo, and they're both animals who can't go back. So the roo and the emu only can go forth, so that's why Australia is a perfect country to go forth. Right?
I've never seen a kangaroo going backwards before.
No, they can't. They can't.
We've seen them out here. It's been beautiful in this winery where we are, and yes, no, I can't say I've never seen a kangaroo move backwards.
So your question was about my plans, and so I like to make everybody in the world a better innovator. I'm a kind of niche specialist in the start of innovation, and I would love to spread it all over the world. So I'm going again to Japan to train people, and I love to be here to do speeches or keynotes just to inspire people. And the point is that a lot of people say, I can't innovate or I can't create it, which is bullshit. Yes, you can. You only have to wait for the right context and the right moment, and then you just have to have a right methodology to do so. And so that's what I like to do. I like to empower people to become innovative themselves, and that I will do until I die.
Fantastic, mate. And outside of innovation, outside of business, outside of everything else, what other passions have you got? What is it that you truly love? And I think, asking that question, I know some of those things, and I think some of those things are actually the inspiration around the expedition methodology with Forth, right?
Yeah. So, so why it is an expedition? Because, I love to read travel books. I got a huge imagination, and when I was young there was no iPhone, or so I read with a torch, and under the blanks I read those books about Alan Amundsen and about Hillary and Magellan, but also a book, Barefoot Through Australia. I read that 30 years ago, and it really inspired me. And I got a huge imagination, so when in my 40s I had to come up with I had this model, but kind of a metaphor. It was, I merged my private life with my work life, as a lot of people should do. And then there became the expedition metaphor. And I didn't test it at anybody, it was part of me, so I thought that was a great idea. And now I'm so amazed that now 15 years later it resonates all over the world. And going on an expedition is really a nice metaphor. Yeah. And the curious thing is that I never traveled the world ever since, I only started it since 5 years. So I first made a map, and then the map was in my books, and the books got translated all over the world. And now the map I created takes me all over the world myself, which is really really a nice story.
It's fantastic, mate. It's great to see you living the dream. I think it's something that so many people strive towards, is being able to do their passion and live their passion, and that also is what they do for their work as well. So,
like you, BV.
I've come through a recent transition, absolutely, in the past, 12 months, and that's been an incredible journey. And me personally, to be have a great understanding of the fourth innovation method and be a facilitator of that. It's something that I'm very proud about, and I think it's another tool in my toolbox as well. So I'm super stoked about that.
Yeah. So
it's been great.
I wish you lots of success, and if you want to go forth in Australia, hire BV. Yeah, great guy, great facilitator, knows the business well. You know, he will get you there, guarantee that.
Thanks, mate. It's great to have you here. Thanks for an amazing week. I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay. I know we're going to go surfing next week and put you into my comfort zone and out of your comfort zone. It's going to be great. So thanks very much. Thanks for being on the show, and you're a great guy. Thanks, Gijs. You're a legend. Thanks, brother.
Yeah.